the meeting, August 21st Parks Commission meeting to order. And we'll start with roll call. Start with
Bill Davis, Parks Commissioner.
Patrick Bringardner, Parks Commissioner.
Jared Schmidt, Parks Commissioner.
Harv Schmoting, Parks Commission.
Patty Scott, Parks Commissioner.
Kirk Benward, Parks Commission.
Jamie Faraday, Parks.
Greg Hamblett, City of Coos Bay.
Christine Sylvester, City of Coos Bay.
And if I could just remind everybody to make sure that your green light is on when you're talking, that'd be great. Thank you.
We'll move on to public comment. Is there any public? Public is going to be presenting, I see. All right, on to action items. I'll start with Katie, an update on Oregon's Bay Area beautification update.
Thank you. I'm here to give the report of what OBAB has accomplished since August and last cleanup. For this year, 2025, we've had a total of 274 volunteers, which contribute to 685 hours worked, and that is 33.75 cubic yards of trash, 42 cubic yards of debris, which includes invasive plants like English ivy, Scotch broom, holly, and blackberry, and 5 cubic yards of mulch spread on the trail. In Coos Bay alone, we've had 196 volunteers total with 490 hours worked and 31.5 cubic yards of trash and litter and 22 cubic yards of debris, including invasives like Scotch broom, English ivy, blackberry, and 5 cubic yards of mulch spread on trails. And our last cleanup was at John Toppit's in August, right? Yes. And we got about 4 cubic yards of trash, about a whole cubic yard of ivy. And we only had about 26 volunteers, which is usually about half for what we get at Toppit's. But even with that many people, we filled up a truckload and got a lot accomplished. And so our next cleanup is going to be Saturday, September 13th, and that will be at the SWAC campus trails. We're going to help out SWAC. They're putting in a new trail system, and thanks to AYA crews, they've done a great job of getting a bulk of stuff out and leaving the easier stuff to get for our volunteers. So that'll be Saturday, September 13th. Sign-ins at 9:45 a.m. and cleanup is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's it for me.
Question?
Yes.
Is that like trash from campsites?
It is both trash from campsites, household garbage from people illegally dumping, and campsites. Although compared to about 3 years ago, it has been at a much more attainable level. There's people in the parks that are neighbors of the parks that help clean it up. The camp hosts regularly go around and clean it up. There's daily walkers that help clean it up. And so it's gotten very much more manageable. I go back to sites I've been to where it's very bad, and it's easier to pick up now. And you could see the forest floor and everything like that. So there's great improvement, and it's not just from OBAB, but other people in the community that care about it. Yeah. Right, that's it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, all right. I will turn this over to our illustrious chair.
Thank you so much. I apologize for my tardiness. We're moving down to action item 3B, Oregon Parks Forever Track Trail Network Trailhead Donation Discussion.
Thank you for saying that. I don't have to say it again. Appreciate that. On July 23rd, 2025, the City of Coos Bay received an email offer of donation from Seth Miller. Seth Miller is the Executive Director of the Oregon Parks Forever. Oregon Parks Forever is a sponsor of David's Chair that we currently have located at the Visitors Information Center. They do a really good job down there with the David's Chair. It gets used quite often. This donation by this group, if the commission recommends it, would put a trail marker at one of the trails at what staff is proposing is at John Toppitz Park. So the trail network that is supporting an effort by the Kids in Parks program at the Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation to bring at least 50 track trails to Oregon parks. This donation will include the following: the development and manufacturing of a trailhead sign for the trail chosen. If you choose a different material, they will contribute the cost of the metal frame to the cost and producing the trailhead sign. So there might be, if we don't want the metal sign, then they'll produce it, but there will be an additional cost to that. So they do have a sign that they provide with the donation. Also, they will provide printing of about 8,000 brochures for each trail. It's about a 2 to 3 year supply. Web page, prize acquisition, customer sticker, and fulfillment by kids in the park for 3 years. The city will be responsible for the following if the commission recommends move forward with this donation: is a selection of an appropriate trail for children. Once again, staff is suggesting a trail at John Toppitz Park. The selection of 3 brochures from a catalog of 30 available brochures showing things that kids can find on the trail. Selection of an image to represent the trails on a trail sticker. Provide a map and description to the trail to the Kids in Parks graphic designer, and approval of the final trailhead sign. Installation of the trailhead sign, keeping of the brochures boxes are stocked, and there will also be a QR code just in case the brochures are empty. They can be downloaded. Currently, the Oregon Parks Forever, in association with the Kids in Parks program, has installed 32 of these kiosks or trailheads at different places, 32 locations in the state of Oregon, with 18 additional signs in production. They have installed, they will have installed a total of 50 by the end of the summer, so the 32 that they have existing plus the 18, so that would be 50. They hope to have 100 installed by the end of next summer. So the budget implications would be for the city, the initial would be just the cost to install the trail, which is the trailhead sign, which would be about $100 plus staff time. And then, in about 2 to 3 more years, the printing of more brochures would be the cost. So a couple $100 in a few years. Fund 35 or 37 306 520 2307. 37 is our new fund for parks. So that's good. Concrete, asphalt, and gravel will be the funding source for the installation of the trailhead. So along with the staff report, there are some attachments to this. It's kind of a depiction of what the trailhead signs look like and what comes along with it. So I thought it was pretty neat. I talked with Seth on the phone. It takes about 10 weeks to get the trailhead marker right now. So understanding that. So if we did proceed, move forward, it would probably be late October, early November before we got that. And then we can install it. Also tied to the staff report is a map of John Toppitz Park, of the trailheads, of the trails, sorry. And so this is just something that staff is suggesting. We are open to other suggestions, but staff is thinks that John Toppitz, with the renaissance that it's having out there, thanks to OBAB, their efforts, AYA, the addition of the ADA compliant kayak launch that we have out there. ODFW has installed the footer for the new dock, a fishing dock. That's installed. So we're having some improvements done out there. I just think this would be one more addition to John Toppitz Park.
And you're comfortable, you have enough staff time to get all the parts and particulars that they need together for that?
Absolutely. I think for the trailhead, once again, it's just a location, a couple bags of cement, and an auger.
Okay. Commissioner comments?
Looks like this will be the first in Coos County. There is not one in Douglas nor Curry.
Or Lane.
Looks like there's 3 in Lane. Yeah.
And what would the kids be looking for? Would it be species of trees or?
So
River.
it's kind of almost like a scavenger hunt on this pamphlet or brochure that they can pick up, and they can take. I think they can take it. You select as looking for lichens. So you have a little brochure. It's kind of scavenger hunt. What did you find on your walk type thing? I saw brochures that were. Did you find deer tracks? Did you find this particular type of frog? Did you see this type of tree or this type of leaf? Whatever it would be catered to what our park would have inside of it, and so that would be how that would be dialed up for us. They kind of cater it to the location.
So they're not necessarily generic things. They can be specific to what we have here, like
Correct.
wax myrtle would be something they wouldn't have in.
Find the ponderosa pine.
Right.
We want to keep it more kid friendly. I couldn't find a ponderosa pine if you guys had one ponderosa pine in the park, and that was the only tree. So yeah, it would be probably a bit more, something that children ages 6 to 12 years old is the demographic that this is ideally looking for. So it would be catered towards that age demographic. And then they can, have their pamphlet, and on the back, there's stickers, and then there's other different things that they can get. They log in, they register with the trail network, and they can get mailed in their prizes. And so
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
it's just encouraging kids and families to get into the parks.
Great. Any other commissioner questions or comments?
I took a look at their brochures. They're pretty nice. But in answer to Jamie's questions, there's only 2 that are customizable, and that's need for trees and birds of the region. The rest of them are all standard. And I would, I'm whatever staff wants to pick, I'm perfectly fine with. But needs for trees would be a good one because of the trees out there, and you can customize it for the. They have another tree one in there, but it's got like pines and oaks and maples, and probably really not a lot of the stuff that's in the park. But the needs for trees ones you can change to the trees that are there. And the other one that I saw that might be a good one would be ponds, because part of the trail can go around the pond and between birds and bugs and salamanders and everything else, they would be able to see that. So my suggestion for the 2 of the 3 would be need for trees and pond. And there are a ton of them. And the other thing is, I guess we kind of got to pick what we're going to use as the trail, right? So what would we suggest as a trail? And maybe someone with educational background here knows how far 1st through 6th graders like to walk, and it's not a problem.
I think it depends
Half
on
a
the 1st and
mile
6th grade.
is okay.
So they suggest up to a mile.
If we could put that bridge in.
Yeah.
If we could put that
Yeah.
bridge in, that
Sure.
inner red circle there on the map is about a mile.
1.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. I always lament the fact that the bridge isn't there anymore. But if you don't do, if you want to limit it, to a small amount, there's all those cross trails and everything. You have to look us up. I would suggest that we start where the playground is and the kayak kiosk and restrooms and all that sort of stuff. So that my suggestion would be that's where the trail would start.
Near the parking lot.
Yeah, and I guess you could go a little bit north and then along the south edge of the lower Empire Lake, and then hook towards the end of it there into one of the yellow trails back to the bigger trail going all the way around the outside. And that would probably be a little bit less than a mile. But again, just a suggestion. But it's the better parking lot, the playground's there, the restrooms are there, the kayak thing is there, the fishing pier is there. It'd be a nice place to take pictures for their stuff as well that we need to do. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments and questions? All right.
So if I can ask a question?
Yes.
All right. So if it pleases the commission, make a recommendation to approve the donation by Oregon Parks Forever to place a trailhead sign at John Toppitz Park.
I move we approve a donation by Parks Forever and place the trailhead at John Toppitz Park.
have
I
a
second.
first.
Yeah.
I have a second. I have a first and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. It sounds like a great project.
I'm excited about it. I think it was a really cool idea. I was so happy that they reached out.
Need for trees.
Yeah, I know. I like them. All right. Moving on to action item 3C, park-related projects and grant updates.
Well, Christina's not here tonight, so
Okay.
I will go ahead and give the update on the happenings of parks and park-related projects. So just kind of glossing down here, the John Toppitz Park Community Wildfire Risk Reduction Grant. Commission knows that we got that grant. The contractor has mobilized his equipment out to the site. We're just waiting for him to finalize the contract. We expect that to happen either the end of this week or beginning of next week. Once that's been finalized, he's already mobilized his equipment out there. He'll get started on it right away. Also, the city has applied for another grant with CIS Wildfire Risk Management. We're just waiting to find out if we get that grant. If we do, that's another $10,000 we'll apply for. Another $10,000 worth of work along that same path. The Mingus Park Restrooms Project, we got that grant with the LGGP grant. We took the restroom that the commission approved us to move forward with, made the recommendation for. We took that to council. Council approved that on Tuesday this week. We are working right now to go ahead and procure that. So staff reached out to the manufacturer this morning and working through that. So hopefully we see some movement on that very soon. And then the ball field restroom is coming to hopefully a quick finish here soon. The restroom doors are installed. We're just waiting up on some new hinges because the hinges, the stock hinges that come with the door, are not very good for the restroom. So we're just waiting up on those. Bicycle and pedestrian improvements, the Oregon Pass Community Grant, or Oregon Community Pass Grant. We applied for that. We were unsuccessful, but the TGM grant, we expect to hear, that's for the comprehensive citywide plan. We expect to hear announcements on that in September. The Mingus Park Community Building, we are still looking for grants to move on to the next phase of getting that building not stabilized, because we've done that already, but just getting it to the next level of making repairs to that facility. So still working on grants for that. Safe Routes to School went to the council on Tuesday last week, or on the 19th this week, and it was the Safe Routes to School plan was accepted by council. So the next steps are going to be going for a grant in January when it opens up, if it opens up. So that's our goal, is to take that plan into the construction grant cycle when it does come around. Mingus Park Rewilding Project, we are actively working on that now. We are placing River Rock this week into the swales to move that water along, and we should be wrapping that up hopefully in the next couple weeks and getting that at staff's commitment level to getting that done. And then in the fall, Coos will be going in to plant that. The Empire Lower Lake embankment project, the road work is done, but we still have some other work that we need to do in there. And so the road is still closed. That gate is still closed. We've seen a vast improvement in that area as far as people camping in that area, because nobody can get in there. But I think that's kind of probably helped out with the OBAB's efforts down there as well. But we do have a lot of work left to do in that small confined area. So once we're done with that, we'll evaluate that. City Coos Bay Boardwalk, just to let you know, the staff took the projects. I think Harvey talked about that at the last meeting. We took the proposed projects to the council. They approved us to move forward with those, so we're going to start working on getting plans and getting those improvements, having those come into fruition. So we expect that hopefully some of the projects will begin in the fall, but most of them are probably going to start in the spring, just because of planning and then the weather that we're going to be expecting. The upper tennis court does have a net now, and stanchions were installed. And so the two ladies that were in here wondering where our tennis courts went, it's put back together and people can go play tennis there. And then lastly, staff performed some maintenance and some mitigation over at Chosey Gardens. Some invasive species and some other work around Chosey Gardens.
Thank you so much. It's a lot.
It is.
Jamie?
Did the flooding problem get looked at? The northwest corner, we had a citizen who plays tennis there, and she said it floods often, and it just needs to be ditched around that edge.
So that's going to take a little bit more.
Carmen suggested that I do it.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. I thought I volunteered, told you very well. I think it's going to take a little bit more planning effort to get that. A lot of that water is coming from the hillside. So I don't think that just trenching around the edge is going to do it. I don't think that's going to get rid of the water that's ponding up behind there. So we do have to do a lot more investigation in how we're going to go ahead and move that water. I don't think it's as easy as just digging a trench around the edge. I think in principle it's pretty easy, dig a trench. But I don't think the application or the reality of that is going to be just that easy.
Because I think it's in a bit of a dip, so where does that trench go?
Yep.
Right?
How do we move the water away from it?
Yeah.
We can move the water to another location, but I think it's still going to inundate that tennis court because it's still got a pond and it's still going to have a place to go until we can determine how that water is going to get to where it needs to go to properly mitigate that flooding. And I think we're still going to have that issue in that northwest corner of the tennis court. But more to follow. It's not lost on us, but it takes some more planning.
It still does come out of that hillside, though, and I know you said that piping that was there coming out of the hillside maybe wasn't the source, but I got to believe that's probably part of it. But there's maybe a spring up there as well. So yeah, it is probably a little bit more, and it's really marshy on the end of that tennis court. I went and took a look at it. So.
It's pretty wet up there.
Yeah, okay.
Cricket. So I was with the Marshfield Pioneer Cemetery. So before we had Christina and before things were done in the grants thing, we were the grants for the cemetery were handled by Chelsea Schnabel. And I have not got a definitive answer if the Preserving Oregon grant was gone through City Council and been approved. So we do have a $10,000 grant from Preserving Oregon, and we need about $1,500 more in match, and we're aiming that still at alumni and, getting a little bit here and there. We also had the garden club tour there. Great option because the whole thing was showing people that, yes, you can come to the cemetery. So I get a call most every day for someone trying to get the code to get into the cemetery. But I did want to make sure that the grant was approved by the City Council. I think it has to be.
I haven't seen it come before City Council yet, but I'm happy to check on it.
Super.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add that this body might be interested to know that the interpretive sign project at the boardwalk is complete. Our tribal signs went up. A big thank you to Jared and both of the other tribes for all the work they did. It really is quite lovely.
Other commissioner, we'll just roll into future agendas. Does anyone have any additional items for future agenda? We'll do, because we're working on a time scenario here. Let's roll into staff and commissioner closing comments. Bill? Good? Patrick? All right. Jared?
I also wanted to thank Greg and Christina for all their hard work on those signs. They look very lovely, so thank you all for, you and your team, for everything you did. They're magnificent, and I know the tribe's very happy to see them installed, and we're eager to hear the tribes and their voices in the languages and the landscape. So that'll be really cool. When you scan the QR code, you can actually hear tribal liaisons reading the signs, and like for the Coquel, for example, you'll be able to hear Milik and Nuea, so two of the traditional languages, which is really great to see the city help with those reawakening endeavors. So thank you very much.
Barb?
I don't have anything other than an invitation. Hope to see everybody this weekend down to Blackbird Arts Festival.
Yeah. Patty? Good?
Just want to say thanks to staff again for getting that upper tennis court fixed with the stanchions and the net. You know, it creates such a positive image when public comes in and says, gee, we got a problem up there. These dividends. And I have to tell you, when I drove that back road to fix it too, the city's done a good job of making that terribly miserable road easier to drive on. So thank you for that as well. Just a reminder, music in the park tonight. And again, thanks to city staff for making the music in the park a viable option. So that's it.
All right. Jamie?
Well, in the realm of citizens stepping up for parks, the Dog Days of Summer was a pretty good success. We had, beginning of that morning, we had more than half of the posts that we're trying to get replaced adopted, and they all got adopted.
Yay!
And there was about 7 or 8 dog and owners in the contest, and that was fun. So, and Coco having on medical leave, we were texting her, oh, one more post, oh, we're down to 3, oh, they're all done. She was pretty excited. And thanks to Katie, who wears how many hats? Yeah, Shopper, OBAB, Park Pack, Focus was there. They came away with some donations, and it was a great day, beautiful day.
Thank you. Greg?
Okay, well, Jamie, thanks for mentioning the trail markers. I was going to talk about that, but you don't have to now. So just September 4th, we do have a planned work session, but there's nothing on the agenda for September 4th. Do you want to?
It is right after Labor Day.
It is right after Labor Day.
I would say, is there any pressing item? That week is already quite full with the holiday schedule, but we have stuff scheduled for the ones after.
I will not be here on September 4th.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, and then we have items for the following work session, so.
There are 4 items for the September 18th work schedule.
Anyone have an issue with skipping it? And then, okay, all right.
Okay, and then, go ahead, Jamie, I'm sorry.
Just a suggestion, I don't know if the staff would like any of the park commission members to go take a hike at Toppets and just see which of the routes might be of use, just to give some feedback. I mean, that could be a Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walk.
If you guys
Just
want
take
to
casual notes, nothing.
print out a map and take it with you and come back with a suggested route, that'd be fine. So the next steps on that preparing for the trail kickoff is going to be a kickoff meeting that staff will have with them. And I would love to take the suggestions of the commission back. So if you guys at the next, we put it on the 18th meeting of just suggested locations. So
Yeah, I think that would be great.
okay, we'll do that.
Okay. right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I would like to say I made it just right after Jamie cleaned up and left to the dog days this summer, but I was stoked to see the mass amount of people utilizing John Topics Park. I drove around the lake to see a friend on the other side. I looked back over from the SWAC side and saw 15 kayaks out on the lake. So I think it's really cool to see that we're seeing an invested interest in our parks, and I appreciate our commission here, and I appreciate the staff, and then OBAB and all of our city volunteers for everything that they do. So thank you so much. And I would say that I'm totally going to kick the city's tushies at bowling tonight, but unfortunately, I'm going to claim that my hand still hurts.
There is a disclaimer.
So our commission is adjourned.